let's see here. It seems like every time success. Well, no, it's been saved. That doesn't help me. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, let me start our audio recording and at least hit the music.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, all right, and then we'll figure it out from there. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know where we're at. I hit all the buttons. I want to at least get the show started.
Yeah.
Oh, it says we're live on YouTube. That'll work.
All right.
Whatever. Hey, welcome to episode 700. Starting off like gangbusters as always. I mean, if there's any way to start, wouldn't that be the way?
Yeah.
I mean, off like gangbusters. All right, hey, yeah, there we go. I mean, if there's, we'll mute that, make sure that's working. Anyway, welcome to OTC episode 700. Decided to broadcast live today. Chris had half-eaten muffins and stuff on the
What? No, I just had some Amazon returns.
returns. He says, "What are you
Returns,
returning to
yeah.
Amazon? 3D printer stuff that's garbage."
No, preamps.
Ah, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
Makes
because
sense.
I've had two where capacitor popped inside of them.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that a couple weeks ago, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, you got to turn them off when you're not using them.
I mean,
Well, I don't know.
Maybe.
Yesterday I tested it and I turned the power off to it and there was no change in volume or quality sound or anything. So I don't even know if they're fucking doing anything.
hey, doesn't matter.
I
Doesn't
guess
matter. Episode
No.
700. So I gave this kind of a clickbaity title. I think I don't know. I don't know what it'll. I think it's like episode 700. Why the A Quiet Place films stink.
not. You went with the smell instead of the sound, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna go with sucks because they do. Spoiler alert for the rest of the show. And this was funny because we were last week. You and I were talking about what we should do for episode 700, and we don't really do a lot of like special broadcasts or like
Right.
anything like that anymore. It's just kind of like we'll do a live show when we can. We'll kind of, but we're just kind of we've settled into that thing where we just do what we do when we
Yeah.
do it each week. And
We reliably put out a show every week.
yeah, and if for some reason we're not going to be here, we'll repurpose something for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the type of thing where like we're just like doing our thing, man. Doing
Yeah.
our thing. I don't know if we're live on Facebook. Facebook seems to be the one where we get the most.
Oh, I see us. I was just looking for it. I found it.
Oh, on Facebook, it's live there. I know
Yeah.
we're live on YouTube. So if you want to go back, if you're hearing this now and you want to go back and watch the broadcast of it, it'll be on YouTube. It's on youtube.com/OTC Industries. You can see it's this side, right? No, it's this side. No, what?
Yeah.
This side? This side?
It's the same regardless of how the camera's
Oh,
flipped.
yeah. Yeah, right. So, Chris, I know you can get a good look at it right now.
Yeah, wow.
A black eye I got. I'm sporting the most fierce black eye that I've had since I was a kid.
You look like you look like you get drunk at Applebee's now
Nice.
and start fistfights.
Nice. Ollie and Joe in the chat room. Ollie wishing a happy 700. Thank you very much, Ollie. Appreciate it. Joe's in there. He says, "Yeah,
Nice.
you're live." So I'm glad that I'm like I've got the two of them. We don't need any more. We don't need anyone else to tell us. We're good. We're good. But yeah, so most of you guys that listen to the show on the regular know I coach Little League Baseball. We are currently in the Jimmy Fund League, which is a league where we raise money for the Jimmy Fund. So I'll be hitting all of you guys up to try to support the team. We have a minimum goal to reach, but I'm not worried about it just yet. But we were at our first practice for that team last week, and a kid fouled the ball right off my eye. So felt great. Felt real good. Was very tough in front of the kids. No, I'm fine. Meanwhile, there's a hematoma on my face that's growing like I was able to get ice on it pretty quickly, like not immediately, but like the practice was just about over, so it was only like 10-15 minutes. But yeah, man, baseball off the friggin' orbital bone felt real good. Real good.
I can imagine.
So.
Yeah.
But that's why if anyone's curious as to why I have a black eye, that's why. Episode 700. Out of the gates strong. Joe says at least it wasn't to your bits. You know what? I mean, yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
But if that happened, it wouldn't show to everybody
Right.
that looks at you.
So
right?
and I've had just an incredibly busy schedule the last couple weeks. So like I had a funeral I had to go to last week. So I wore my sunglasses inside at the funeral the entire time just because I didn't want to have to answer questions. And the one place you can get away with wearing your sunglasses inside a lot of times is at a funeral. So it kind of lucked out. But so Mel had not like a party, but she had a couple of cousins that came up that live in Florida that came up to visit, and they had a get together. And like Mel's got a huge family. So there was like about, I don't know, 20, 25 cousins or whatever at this party. And of course it was at nighttime and it was outdoors and I couldn't wear my sunglasses. And what happened to your eye? First thing everybody said to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. And every time the answer was, ask Mel. Insinuating that she had something to do with it. And then they would ask her, well, what happened? He's like, you got to have the foul ball at Little League practice.
Man, if you really wanted to fuck with her, you could have just said, I walked into a door.
Mel, it was a door, right? It was a door. No, it was like, it's the most pedestrian story ever. It's not even like a cool, like I stopped a guy from mugging a lady or like.
Right.
It's like,
I'm surprised you didn't like walk in the door and say, excuse me, everybody's attention, please. It was a Little League.
Hey, have your attention, please. Hear ye. I can hit a 10-year-old fouled the ball off my face. Anyway, episode 700. We're talking about the A Quiet Place films today. We're talking about both of them. It's, you recommended an OTCSI for it. I think this could be more of just like I wrote. Let's see. I didn't. So here's what I made sure that I did. I didn't jump on the internet and be like, look for plot holes or anything like that. I just typed out everything on a notepad, on a notes document.
Yeah.
In terms of like issues that I had with just plot holes, continuity, things that just don't make sense, all of that stuff for both films. Right. And I broke it down into two sections, first film and second film, but realizing I made some like asterisks. Asterisks for some of the stuff for the second film because since it wasn't explained in the first film, it just automatically applied to the second film.
Okay. Yeah.
But so the A Quiet Place films, now there's two of them. I know there's already talk of a third one. When the first one was released in 2018, it was a surprise smash, like surprise box office smash. Yeah. 80 million in the box office or something like that for this little teeny horror movie. You have, certified Hollywood power couple, John Krasinski, Emily Blount, beloved John Krasinski from The Office. He's been in a number of things since then. He's obviously been in the Jack Ryan show on Amazon, which I haven't watched, but I've heard is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be really good. I don't know. I haven't watched it. And Emily Blunt's been in she's been in a ton of movies. The two of them together, I love the two of them as a couple in real life. I think they're awesome. He was doing the Good News thing. So great, great all around. The film killed it at the box office. I don't think anyone really. Yeah. So they immediately blew it a sequel.
Mm-hmm. Green.
Why did I say
Green
blue?
A sequel. Maybe blew out a sequel. I don't know.
Blew out a signal.
Sequel.
God damn.
Maybe you just don't know words. I don't know.
I've had the worst time talking the last week. I don't understand.
Well, you did take a solid sphere to your noggin. So
Mel said that to me. My wife, she said to me on Saturday, or it happened on Wednesday, and then we had something to do on Thursday. And I'm like, I'm just not feeling quite myself. And she goes, yeah, head injuries will do that.
Yeah, they really will.
And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you got hit in the face with a baseball. And I'm like, yeah, it was my face, though. It wasn't my head. And she goes, exactly what I'm talking about. She's like, exactly the issue.
That thing knocked 40 IQ points off of you.
Man, I wasn't rocking a real high IQ to start, so I'm in trouble, man. But yeah, anyway. So having a hard time talking. Love John Krasinski. Love Emily Blount. Kid actors, fine, whatever. So A Quiet Place, the first one, people loved it. And I mean, yes, we talked about how much money he made, but people loved it. People talked about this movie much like when I feel like Paranormal Activity or one of those kind of like smaller films comes along and just kind of captures everyone, and
Yeah.
everybody universally goes nuts over it.
Yeah.
I universally watched it and was thoroughly underwhelmed with it. Got into a few choice arguments with people at that time. I don't think we actually talked about it on the show much. I think it was one of those things where we just kind of like, I was just like, yeah, I watched it, whatever. But like, I legitimately was just kind of like really infuriated watching it. Now,
The first time I watched it, it was tense. And then after I was done watching it, I thought about it, and I probably shouldn't have done that.
right. See, I didn't even get that tense. I mean, yeah, it was tense. I'm not going to take that away from it.
Yeah.
Film builds, use it with the use of long, spots of silence or like super, super limited,
yeah, sound
audio.
design was good. Yeah.
Yeah. The best thing about it's the sound design. And actually it looks incredible until you see the aliens, but we'll get to that. But I just didn't understand why everyone thought this thing was so amazing. Oh, ushering in a new era for horror movies.
They say that with everything.
But they don't say it with everything. You say that. But they don't say it with everything. How many horror movies come out every year?
Oh, no. All of the ones that are big that people really love, now it's all of a sudden a new era for blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Not every horror movie, but every one that critics can, forget about the fact that, they're critics and just enjoy a movie. Right. Remember when that used to happen?
Yeah. And I think, with podcast culture, blogs, content creators, like, you're just so inundated with people's thoughts on things. Like, you get people's thoughts on things and you don't ask for them anymore. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And now, yes, if you're on a place like Instagram or Twitter and those places, it's like, yeah, who you choose to follow a lot of times it dictates what you're assaulted with. But a lot of those places have so many sponsored posts now that like you're inundated with stuff that you're not asking for anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that argument
even before all that, you'd get your commercials where it's like #1 movie in America. Critics love it. Blah, blah, blah.
Changing the game.
Yeah. So you'd get that stuff anyway. I mean, we saw it with The Witch and Midsummer and Hereditary and The Babadook and all the stuff that isn't traditional, straight up like slasher movies.
Right. And here's the thing. I think with a lot of those films, that kind of like, stepping the game up stuff is prevalent with it, whether I like it or not. I think the last one that really, I think, changed things was It Follows.
Yeah.
Because I think It Follows had a lot in common in terms of tone and not so much setting, but like in tone with the Quiet Place films, whereas like It Follows is a quiet flick. It's tense, its intensity is brought by the level of like ups and downs.
Yeah, you're waiting for it to happen. It's not a jump scare. You don't get jump scares really, and It Follows because that's not the nature of the creature.
Right.
I mean, you get a couple. Not even like at the beach when it pulls her hair. That's not a jump scare. That's along with the character, a slow realization of, oh shit, it's here.
Right.
And when the giant is coming down the hallway, that's not really a jump scare emerging from the dark. It's a different kind of scare that wasn't really happening in movies at the time.
Right. So A Quiet Place was that film for 2018. And then obviously Quiet Place 2 was released somewhat limitedly. I mean, as wide as it could be.
Okay, hold on. I've been doing all the late shows, and since they've all come back, Colbert and Corden are the ones that I work on generally. And because they're now Quiet Place is back out, they've had Krasinski and Blunt. So I know exactly that it was released limited on March 8th. It was set to be in theaters on the 12th. Everything closed down. Select people got to see it. What did it feel like to have it pulled at the last minute? Critics are saying cinema is back. Blah 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 blah. That's that's been the last 2 weeks
Okay.
when around the movie being released.
All right.
So
All right.
yeah, this movie is a rare instance of double press.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, go ahead.
the sequel came out, and I saw a lot of better than the original.
I
A
never
lot.
believed that.
Oh, I never believe it either. What was there was one that was like Krasinski is rewriting the horror formula. Was
No,
one I saw.
the only time
I
the
can't attribute
sequel
these
was-
to anyone in particular, by the way. These are just I'm just remembering them off the top of my head.
Yeah, yeah. The only time the sequel was better than the original was Star Trek 2.
Can
Yeah. Yeah, I redeemed the entire franchise right
Am
there.
I wrong that Diet Pepsi with wild cherry just tastes like Pledge, like cherry Pledge?
Oh, I have no idea.
Not that
So yes, you're right.
yeah, sure. It doesn't taste, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Refreshing. It's not refreshing. Anyway. So, Chris, we decided for episode 700 then to look at both of these films and the universe that they have built.
Yep.
And just kind of go through them in a deep dig sort of fashion. I guess also kind of reviewing the flicks and synopsizing them at the same time. And then I think we'll grade them at the end too. So I'm not going to play a trailer because it's not going to do anything for our audio format, and I'm not going to bring it up on screen because I feel like most of our listeners are at least aware of. Most of them have seen the first one, and if they haven't seen the second one, spoiler alert, there's nothing that's going to be spoiled for you because it's not the type of movie you can spoil. I really believe that. We talked a lot about what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, where it was just a retelling of the first film.
It more or less.
It's the same formula. Same formula.
Different, in a different area, right?
Same formula.
Well, I mean, there's a little more because they do expand out and they're looking for safety instead of hiding.
Okay. All right. We'll get to the second one. Let's kind of mull our way a little bit through the first one.
I have so many pages of stuff written down.
Oh yeah, I got a whole I've got probably 20 specific things here.
Okay.
So Quiet Place, beloved horror flick, adored upon its release in March of 2018, grossed nearly $350 million worldwide box office. I again believe this is probably a situation like a Avatar, for example. People lost their mind over it, but then upon a reevaluation, there's some pretty specific things that start to fall apart.
Yeah, I tried to watch. I tried to show my kids Avatar and be like, all right, this was the biggest thing because of the 3D and the way it looks, and we got bored.
Yeah,
it was kind of boring.
So the first one, we are in a not even a post-apocalyptic world. A post-alien sort of invade. The first film gives you really not much at all.
It's like an extinction event, I guess is the best way to describe it.
These aliens show up and take out virtually everybody within like 30 seconds of them showing up. They are attracted by sound.
Yep.
We'll get into a little more in depth in the issues of that because there are many. And they are just covered in armor, so they're virtually invincible. Something else that will come up momentarily, I promise you. And basically, you just as a human, they come and take out humans. Actually, they take out all animals because we see one of them take out a raccoon at one point.
Oh yeah,
but they no reasoning. It's not even eating. Like they don't eat the humans; they just kill them. So we are introduced in the opening scene of the first film. Family making their way, getting supplies, getting medicine. One of the three children is sick, and they basically are, they get to the pharmacy in downtown. They have got sand laid out to make it quieter for them to walk. Everyone is in bare feet because it's quieter than your shoes touching surfaces. And the youngest child apparently completely forgets that any of this is happening, despite, I'm sure, being told incessantly, you have to do everything you can to not make any extra noise. Family dynamic is the oldest daughter is deaf. The middle son is sick at the time. The youngest son is a fucking idiot.
As far as being a fucking idiot, let's go with the middle son, the mother, the father, and the little kid.
Yep. And the Holy Spirit.
They're all those parents. Okay. If they were going for this, I give them full credit. What they're showing is failing upwards. This is a family that is it's not your typical survival family where you have anyone with any kind of skills for survival or knowledge or above average intelligence. You have a bunch of people that lived far out into the countryside and fucking lucked out because they're idiots. They're really idiots. First of all,
fair.
If you could walk to a pharmacy, why would you carry your teenage kid with you when you have another child that could watch the other two at home? Put them in the soundproof basement, and guess what? Tell them to fucking wait.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
And then she goes into the pharmacy and only picks up the medicine she needs.
Rather than just take it all with her.
Take all the fucking medicine.
Sorry.
It's Cock Slayer.
Sorry. Hit the wrong button.
Right?
Continue.
Take all the medicine because you never know what you're going to need, and that shit's going to go bad. So here are some initial issues I had with the beginning of the movie on a second watch. Okay, on a first watch, this doesn't really matter that much. But on a second watch, we have missing person flyers. When did you print those and put those up? Here's the most baffling one for me. Newspaper headline says it's sound.
Yeah.
So you ran that on a printing press.
I have that listed on mine here too, man.
Drove it from New York City or wherever your printing press is in a truck to drop off at a general store in backwater New York where these people are. With the headline, it's sound that attracts the murderous aliens.
Yeah. And then to double on that, also who is going out and buying newspapers when you're at the point where any type of sound is essentially you're going to be murdered immediately.
Yeah.
So you're heading down to the store to grab a newspaper, which I don't know if any of you have ever held a newspaper, but it kind of makes a sound like crinkle, 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 crinkle. I don't hear
Not
that.
even that.
Good try.
Not
I didn't even hear
that.
that.
No. Oh, wait. How about this?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I don't know if you've
I know
ever
that was
picked up
plastic,
if
but
you've ever
still.
picked up a newspaper, but that is very much what you get. So who in their right mind is going out and buying these newspapers, let alone delivering them?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, so now we're barefoot in New England in the fall.
Alone. Oh, there we go again. Sorry. I'm just checking to make sure that we're broadcasting everywhere.
So,
Sorry. There we go. All right.
We're
Sorry,
barefoot in New England in the fall.
Yep.
Nobody has socks.
Wasn't it upstate New York? Because they talk about the Appalachians.
Yeah. But I mean, in the second one, they end up in Connecticut. But yeah, I mean, if you, so the Northeast, we'll say the Northeast.
Okay.
So it's the fall because you can see the trees are changing colors and they're walking around barefoot. Now, I understand visually the representation of being barefoot,
Mhm.
but you're walking outside. There's sticks, rocks, broken glass, all kinds of stuff in the store, wherever. There are thick, fuzzy socks that my kids wear in the winter.
Mm.
Fucking wear those. Get some moccasins.
So true.
Goddamn sneakers would be a better option. The barefoot thing shows how dumb they are.
And this is going to be a thing, just so you guys know how it's gonna come back around multiple times how dumb the characters are in this movie.
Yeah. And if they were going for your average family that is not equipped for this, then kudos.
But I think the thing that makes it even more frustrating for me is that there's certain aspects to them which are like fucking really smart.
Yeah.
Really good decisions. Like Krasinski, working on the radios and the stereos and using amplifiers. Then, like we'll get to it momentarily, but something they do for the family to help, quell some sound, which I'll just get to that point now. So the youngest son, grabs whether in the store at the beginning, grabs a NASA space shuttle, and apparently it already has batteries in it because every toy that you ever bought already has batteries in it, right?
Well, I mean, now they do actually, don't they? The Test Me feature in it.
Yeah, but they don't have AA batteries in them.
Oh no, they're usually button batteries, aren't they?
Yeah, but this is like very much like AA batteries. It starts to make noise.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
John Krasinski grabs it, looks at the kid, shakes his head, says no, and like you have to be quiet.
Yeah.
Takes the batteries out of it, puts it back down. So then, the eldest daughter, because she's trying to make the help the kid be feel better, happy, smart, takes out the batteries and gives it back to him so he can play with it.
Yeah.
Again,
well, no, the dad took the batteries out, right? Yep. But she gave it to him, and did nobody like pocketed the batteries?
No, he just put them on the counter or whatever.
It's kind of like if somebody's holding you at gunpoint and you manage to get the gun away from them, and then you just put it down without taking all the bullets out of it.
Right. So the kid so she gives him the thing and he picks up the batteries. And again, like instant death is like on the board here. Like,
yeah,
those things are on you within seconds of those sounds being made.
Yeah.
So this kid, because apparently he hasn't paid attention for, what was it, 146 days or whatever it was at this point?
Day 89.
Day 89, thank you. Apparently hasn't paid attention to anything that's going on.
No.
Puts the fucking batteries back into the toy and then fucking turns it on while they're walking.
Yeah, all right. I got something to say about that too.
Okay.
All right. The progression is the mom. The mom is who's carrying the son?
I believe Krasinski's carrying the son.
Okay. And so it's down. Mom, dad, middle son with them, daughter, youngest kid. They have the youngest kid bringing up the rear.
Yep.
Furthest away from the parents.
He's only like 4. He's only supposed to be like 4.
I don't know about you. Well, I do know about you. The progression would be mom in the front, kids in the middle, father in the back, bringing up the rear, watching everything. And the mother would be watching everything too. The person in the front watches to see what's on the ground, points to things to avoid, places to step. You have your hand signals. They know American Sign Language. The father can watch for people in the woods, blah, blah, blah. This is why these people are stupid. They let their kid wander behind them.
Right.
You can't relax in that situation. If you spent, I would say, 6 years laying that trail of sand.
We'll get to the sand, by the way.
Then you're going to be very careful. The first thing I thought when there's a trail of sand down the middle of the street was, it hasn't fucking rained in 90 days in the fall
in like New York.
Yeah. Or there's no wind. Like, okay.
Well,
straight up, that family deserved that kid to die.
yep, because they weren't taking care of him the way that they should.
No, they were
So he is
negligent.
immediately. And here's the other thing. Krasinski is running at this kid at that point, not paying attention to making any sound.
Yeah.
Makes a ton of sound. It takes the kid out and then apparently just disappears.
It should have taken the kid out and then stopped when it heard Krasinski and then like pivoted and jumped on him too.
Right. Because there are some really large discrepancies in the way that these aliens respond to things. Okay. So we fast forward a number of days.
It's day 472.
Okay, so we're over a year and a half into the end of the world, essentially. We now see in one of the most frustrating things for me in the world, and I know there's like a lot of people that were like there's reasons why this happened. Emily Blunt's now pregnant.
Fucking dumbest thing the movie could have ever done. She's pregnant. Just so fucking stupid. Hey, here's an idea. Our last son died because he made a noise. Let's bring something into the world that only makes fucking noise.
Yeah.
Let's give birth to a death sentence.
Yeah.
I don't care how in this situation, all right, and I'm only talking this situation, so I can be a callous asshole all I want because it's a fictional situation.
I mean, you can be a callous asshole all you want anyway.
I can, but I'm not. In this situation, your feelings and your will to survive should be it's just your will to survive should outweigh your grief.
Because that's the argument that everyone has, is that they are having another child because of the grief incurred. And you see this in real life all the time. God forbid a family loses a child.
Murder monsters
running around.
Right, no,
exactly. No, you're 100% right. And that's the point I'll make in a sec. But like, you see it all the time. A family loses a child. They usually two things happen. They can't handle it. They split up and get divorced, or they have another child. Not to necessarily make up, but to help with the grief.
No, I completely understand that in real life, in a reality situation.
Now, I'm not faulting Krasinski Blount for, having some love making.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they know how to do it without making a whole lot of noise. Like, I get no problem. No problem. Yeah. Human nature, life absolutely sucks at this point for them. Take whatever little pleasure you can where you can. But
you regularly visit a pharmacy.
I was just gonna say, were they opened at a pharmacy which has any type of prophylactic, any type of contraception you would want to try to go for, to make sure that you don't bring a screaming infant into this world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just it's the single most infuriating thing for me in this. And yes, they show that they have this special box that they can put the child in to keep the noise out, and they have, oxygen tanks so that the child doesn't suffocate. Like, okay, you're showing me that you did those things, but you know what? You are putting yourself and your entire family in constant added danger by bringing this child into the story.
Well, they're also dumb because they don't have a soundproof place for her to deliver the baby.
Bathtub.
Yeah, I mean,
they had that. They had that room
on 3 out of 4 sides. It's soundproof.
They had that room. They had the room, which I think is where she was supposed to end up, but she doesn't get there because, again, world full of stress. The baby comes earlier than supposed to.
Oh, hold on. We're getting way ahead. We're skipping all these. I took notes and I am reading them. God damn it.
All right, go for it.
Okay. So, we come home to their creaky wooden house. And I know it's a creaky wooden house because it's got the same like build as mine and yours. It's a wood floor, it's wood walls, right?
Yep.
Your house has little creaky spots, right?
Oh, of course.
My house creaks every time I walk.
I look at my house and it creaks.
Yeah. Yeah. So, good job staying in the creaky noise making house, first of all. And second, you're going to leave all the doors open? Like, okay, so unless you have tied them open, they're going to slam shut with the slightest breeze coming through the house. And a door slamming shut scares the shit out of you, doesn't it?
Yep.
And that's going to attract any kind of monster. Also, it's easy entry for any alien that's just kind of walking around wanting to, check shit out. It could just walk into the house and just all of a sudden be like, oh shit, there's somebody I can kill. Let's see, what do I got? Why are you pregnant? Where is the power coming from?
Well, the idea is that the power is coming from a generator that they have in the barn.
And that generator doesn't make noise?
Apparently not, which can bring me to a number of points. I think we'll get into the overall problems with noise and how it's addressed in this film, probably in the conclusion of the first film.
Okay. So we have another tense situation where everybody freaks out, where the kids are playing Monopoly and they're using like a pom-pom and a squishy star for pieces and stuff, and they're rolling the dice on the rug. They have electricity. There are light bulbs lit in this room. Why is there a fucking lit lantern on the floor that causes the fire?
Because it needed to be there to cause the fire.
They have electricity. No. No.
So Reverend Scott, the dear Reverend, is in the Twitch chat, and he says, in all seriousness, though, what's the point of surviving, though, if you don't try to continue the human race? He makes a fair point, Chris. It's a shitty point.
You know what? There's a time and a place for everything. Figure out how to take those fuckers out and then do it. They're young enough.
Oh, he told you, Scott. Told you. Here, let me get back to this. So we see a large number of times there are sand paths.
Yes.
We are only 484 days into this. Number one, where did all the sand come from?
Well, my daughter has a theory on that.
Okay, well, before you tell me that, number two, wouldn't moving all of this sand around make a lot of noise? Whether it's whether you're getting all the sand, whether you go to like a like one of those DPW places or something, like how do you move all of that sand without making?
But we see the town they go to, and it's not like they have a Home Depot with a with a big outdoor area with rocks and sand and mulch and stuff. So
So how did they move all of it? How did they go out and set it all out without getting attacked? And number three, the amount of paths that they show, and then when they show him like adding sand with like a single bag, there is no fucking possible way you can move that much sand, not get killed, and like have that much out there in the amount of time that is given. We
don't see where it's coming from, which I guess we don't have to, but unless you see, okay.
Here's the thing. Before anyone, I'm sorry, Chris, but before anyone gets too excited about Bill, Chris, calm down. It's just a movie. Can't you suspend belief? At first, I can. And you know me, and you know Chris, we love weird movies that don't make a lick of sense.
Holy shit, I will sit and watch the dumbest shit.
But when your movie is presenting itself in a, fairly realistic way, if this was to happen.
Yeah, like, look how smart we are. Nobody took the bags of chips because they make noise.
Right. Like, but if it's going to be a situation where, like, it's going to be just one thing, all right, I can put that out. It's just the lines, just the sand. Okay, you know what? If that's the one thing, fine. That's the one thing.
Like my big gripe, and I forgive it, in Terminator 2 is only organic material through the time machine. And then in the beginning of Terminator 2, they send through a fucking liquid metal Terminator. It breaks the rules, right? But it's the one time it breaks the rules. It doesn't break the rules, and it doesn't go weird and contradict itself through the whole movie. It's one time he broke like a rule he wrote. It still aggravates me, but still, okay, fine.
But
a
in
great
this,
movie
they
otherwise.
constantly rewrite the rules to showcase whatever scene they're doing.
And they're making dumb decisions. Like here's my next decision that they made. Um, my daughter said that clearly it's a magic bag of sand that refills itself at random intervals. And then because I'm like, where the hell did they get all the sand? And that's what she said. And then later they show him dumping the bag out, and she said, look, see, the bag refilled itself. Like, oh shit, you got me. All right. She's pulling laundry upstairs, right? And the bag gets stuck on something. So what does she do? Does she go back down the stairs and wonder, hey, we're all in bare feet all the time. What is this bag stuck on the dark stairs? No, she fucking pulls the bag, rips it, and keeps walking. Mm-hmm. Well, fuck you. You deserve that nail in the foot. Now, here's the other problem with the nail in the foot.
Oh, can I make a guess at what you're going to say?
Yes.
Who the fuck puts a nail in stairs upside down?
Yes. Yes, there's no fucking way. It's point up. You attach stairs from the top face of the stairs,
and it's in the middle. It's in the middle of the staircase. It's not even like when the side where it's dead. That nail is literally not attached to anything or holding anything in place.
You know what? You know what would have made it all real funny for me?
What
if she said, "Why does this?" Like as she's pulling the bag and the nail gets stuck straight up, and she's like, why does this always happen when I'm home alone? Right? I would have been like, all right, I got you. You made a joke. All right.
Ollie just brought that up. He said, Kevin McAllister, duh.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then Joe, so Joe said Kevin McAllister. Then Ollie said, haven't you guys ever seen Home Alone? Yes, we have. And those films make more sense than this.
Yeah. And then her water breaks and she has this look of abject terror on her face. And I think she's not worried about, having the baby. What I wrote is now she's figured out that having a baby was a bad idea. She's like, oh shit. Now we got to deal with this screaming thing.
Yeah. So one of the good things though about the first film is we don't see a lot of the creatures until like probably the tail end of the movie. Whereas in, we'll get to when we talked about the second one, but we're in the second one, they're fucking put in your face the entire time.
Yeah.
But so now we're at the point where like she's in the tub trying to not make noise.
Oh yeah. But she steps on the nail before this.
Yes.
And she drops the picture and that breaks. And that's what attracts the creature into the house. And she hides in the tub.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm all for making noise, dropping things when you step on a nail. That sucks. I've been there.
Right. So
not on my own stairs.
Right. Right. No, you're 100% right. So her in the bathtub, categorically, is like I think one of the things that busts open the logic that this film tries to set up for itself. Because they lay out these ground rules at the beginning of the film. Not so specifically that it's like don't feed them after midnight, don't get them wet. It's not like that. But like it lays its ground rules in terms of like humans can't make any noise because they're going to hear you.
Yeah.
So they set this logic up, but it just isn't plausible that she's going to be laying in this tub, labored breathing, making noise.
Yeah.
And they make it the idea that and this is where the inconsistencies in the creature's hearing just really becomes super, super fucking evident. They can hear voices or a fucking toy from miles away, but they can't hear her whimpering in pain giving birth to this baby in the bathtub.
What about her rapid heartbeat or her going?
Well, yeah,
I mean,
that's what I meant by whimpering.
Breathe, whether you're covering your mouth or not, and it should be able to. If its hearing is that sensitive, it should be able to hear the blood flowing through people's veins. It should be able to hear the baby's heartbeat while it's still inside her.
Right.
I mean, if it's that sensitive. I
think the thing that we'll discuss the most at the conclusion of this review is how big a fucking problem what they hear and what they don't hear becomes. But the next biggest thing, so the kids are out there, everything, all hell is broken loose. The daughter has gone out on her own to try to like figure some stuff out because she's mad at the dad because the dad, she feels that Krasinski's character is, babying her. He's trying to teach the son things that she feels like she should learn. The son's actually the one that's wussier of the two ones. Like,
the son is fucking insufferable.
He's insufferable, but at least he's like thinking about not making no. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, his character comes from just terrified anxiety.
Yes.
Which really makes him come off bad unless you really pay attention to him at the waterfall. And
then the opening moments of the second film, they open that up a little bit more to give you that. But so they're now up hiding in the corn silo. He falls into the corn silo, and then the sister's trying to help. And it does. I mean, a lot of this the little things, like, I mean, I'm not going to go through a point by point. It doesn't matter. But so Krasinski's now out there trying to help them and save them. And in honestly the most mind-boggling thing that makes me so mad just to even think about it is, for some reason, despite all of the options that are, available to them, as smart a guy as he is,
not that smart, but go ahead.
But he's presented that he is.
Well, unless you watch what he does.
True. Rather than, find a way to help his family, because it's very obvious he's the only one out of them that's consistently working to try to make things safer for them, fucking sacrifices himself to, quote unquote, save the kids.
Yeah, now I have an issue with that whole thing, regardless of whether or not his sacrifice was good. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. You cannot. I would love somebody to try to prove to me that his sacrifice was needed.
Well, it doesn't save the kids.
No.
It just removes him from having to worry about them anymore.
Right. So he makes the noise. The alien comes over, kills him. The alien doesn't hear the truck rolling down the hill.
No, but also it okay, there's two parts to his whole thing. The alien that just used its claws to rip through the side of a grain silo.
Yep.
Right. Also, by the way, grain engulfment sounds fucking like a terrifying way to die.
Absolutely.
It's horrific, and that's probably honestly the scariest real life thing in that whole movie.
Probably. Yeah. I don't know. So stepping on the nail fucking
that's pretty bad. But drowning in dry corn. By the way, how much fucking corn do these people need?
Where did it all come from?
I don't know.
They've got all of the corn in the Northeast, apparently.
How did they plant that? How did they harvest it? Like, is he out there with a fucking knife cutting the corn into the top of the grain silo? What is going on there?
I don't know, man.
So the alien's on top of the truck that the kids are in, all Jurassic Park style, and it's just punching the top of the truck. It didn't tear into it like a fucking knife in an aluminum can. It's just denting it. Now, this is an alien that we just watched rip through a grain silo. Probably about the same strength metal, if you want to, or stronger in the silo, because the truck is thin, especially on the roof for crumple and whatever. So when it backhands Krasinski, he's standing there, not making any noise. He's totally quiet. The camera moves down, pans up, and you see the alien on top of the little shed, and it just backhands him and throws him. How did it know he was there? It looked like it looked at him. Right?
But they don't have eyes and they can't see.
Right. So now here's the other thing that I'm thinking about these. They breathe. You hear them breathe. They shouldn't. And they click. Can they echolocate? because if they can echolocate, then just being quiet isn't enough.
Right. But again,
Um,
they only use points like that when it helps the story along.
because I mean, you don't see mosquitoes flying around going, "Ah!" and then bats eat them.
True.
Mosquitoes buzz a little bit, but they're it's the sound coming back. So it should have been able to see them at some point. It should have somehow been able to know they were there. It's like the girl we talked when we were watching this. The girls and I were talking, and they're like, "How long do you think we would last?" I'm like, "Dude, I'd fart in my sleep and be dead instantly."
Well, that was another one. One of the things, what about different body noises? Like,
Yeah,
the one that I thought of was like, you fall asleep and you start fucking snoring.
yeah,
Like,
or sneeze for Christ's sake,
right.
right?
But the snoring one was the one that got in my head the most because,
Yeah,
like, you just do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you can't control it.
Yep.
What if you mumble in your sleep?
Yeah. What if your kid has night terrors? You're dead.
There's so many questions.
So, we see there's a little bit of an electrical disturbance when these things come around, which apparently is what causes the cochlear implant to feedback, I guess.
Sure.
So when that is used against the aliens as their quote unquote weakness, when they Mars attacks the aliens.
Yep.
The plates on their head, which aren't used to direct sound to their ear canals, by the way, they just open, right? It'll open on one side, it'll open on the other, but in no way do they open and then turn or fan like a cat's ear or anything to like direct the sound from a place. It's like, because it's got the things on the side of the head, you would think it would be like moving like this.
Right. No, it just pops
with
open.
all the plates. They pop open, right? So when I hear a loud noise that hurts my ears, I know the first thing I do is cup my hands around my ears.
I tear my ears off.
Well, that's probably a better idea. These aliens, what they do when they hear a noise that is too loud for them is they don't clamp down and run away.
Right.
They
Well, it's not that
stand
it's too
still.
loud. It's the specific frequency.
But they can't run away? What? I mean,
I think the idea is supposed to be that the frequency messes with their, like, genetic makeup. Kind of like a dog.
their electrical system?
Yeah, like something.
Yeah.
It's not explained, but like
No.
what I got was that, like, when that frequency hits them, they kind of involuntarily lose control, which is what gives them the moment to, like, get the, the kill shot in, which is going to bring me to my next point, and maybe I'm
Yeah.
getting a little ahead of myself here. But so, again, not taking anything into account from the second film, just surely based on what we're given in the first film.
Mhm.
I was like, so how many of these things showed up across the world?
Right.
You're telling me, despite the fact that newspapers were
Mhm.
able to put out a headline that were like, it's sound.
Yeah.
That the entire world's military,
Mm-hmm.
or at least the U.S. military, we don't know about the rest of the world.
We know Mexico.
We know Mexico.
So we know North America.
North
Yeah.
America, yep. So the entire government, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, all branches of the armed forces, with I would assume that literally, just like with the coronavirus, the entire medical and scientific community is immediately on this situation.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that a well-timed frequency and a single gunshot, be it she shoots him with a shotgun in the first one, okay, is able to put this thing down.
Yeah.
That the military and the scientists couldn't come up with something to slow them down with all of the deep underground bunkers that we have to move the president and the military and everyone to figure out. Yeah, a lot of people are going to die. There's no question. It's going to happen fast.
The initial attack would wipe out any anti-vaxxer that's running around. We'll just say that. Oh, the aliens are fine. They're not a problem. Blech.
The papers seem to know that it's about sound, but
Yeah.
if I'm sorry, like, is that armor that they have on the outside so impenetrable that if they got shot with a missile?
Well, the thing is, like, the outside armor could be impenetrable, but we've seen their insides are squishy.
Yeah.
So in a concussion type attack, it would liquefy their insides. If you shot it a couple of times with a 50 caliber gun, the insides would turn to jello. Yeah. They turn into red mist just pouring out of the cracks in the armor. They would have to have, and this is based off the fact that when they open up their heads, you know, the part with the mouth, ears, and brain, a shot there takes them out. And so we don't have a gun powerful enough to hit it in the head and snap its neck if it ricochets off.
Right. Or create some sort, we know that they're drawn in by sound. You create some sort of device that makes a bunch of sound. They all go to it.
A bunch of bottles on a string.
It's called anything that makes noise and draw them to. That's the thing I think that frustrates me the most is the fucking lack of foresight in terms of like picking and choosing what they react to. Like they're at the waterfall. The waterfall constantly makes noise.
The biggest problem with the whole movie.
Yeah, it makes constant noise. That shouldn't be a safe haven. That should be the most dangerous place. Constant noise would draw the aliens constantly.
Yeah, but if you think about it, then they would eventually get used to it with all the ambient noise, like the wind blowing leaves, like all that stuff should eventually be filtered out so they can focus on other stuff, right?
But again, there's nothing to show that.
Right. But if the waterfall works, fucking move.
Yeah. Find a way. But then you get into the issue of like, they can't live outdoors in New York in the middle of the winter under a waterfall. And then what happens when it freezes?
Oh, here's an idea. Fucking move.
Yeah. That's the whole biggest thing is why not just live near the water the whole time?
Put your fucking fuzzy socks on, pack your shit, and walk south. There are highways that will get you there if you walk. If you're quiet enough and you leave at the right time, you might get stuck in the rain. You could come across a hotel that's open. You can find shelter. There's houses everywhere. You could make it to some place where, it might be uncomfortable in the winter, but then you could live on a beach, all Martin Riggs style.
Yeah. Yeah, the distraction and the choosing when to distract the monsters, like that's the thing that drives me the most insane.
All they had for distractions was they were going to land of the dead, these motherfuckers, with fireworks. That was it. There's no flip a switch, turn a motor on 200 feet away and have it just like turn on a drill or a bandsaw.
Yeah.
Or some fucking cans on a string. That's the shit that bugs me.
Well, with that said, why don't we do we want to grade? Well, we'll grade them both together, I guess. But yeah.
So my whole thing for the end is, now guns work. No one ever made that shot. No one ever shot the thing while it was listening for them. Not a hunter or anyone in the military. I mean, a fucking concussion grenade should stun it long enough for you to be able to go up and stab it with a knife right in its squishy head. And its mouth, why does it have a mouth if it uses its claws to kill? It doesn't eat. Krasinski says they don't eat. Where's it getting its energy from? Okay, part 2.
So I will say this. Part 2 opens very strongly because it opens with the beginning of the invasion.
Yeah.
And you know, they kind of trick you a little bit. You got Main Street in the town where they live, and a truck drives up, and then Krasinski gets out, and you're like, oh, wait, what's going on? But then you realize then it says day one.
Right.
It goes into the local store. There's the TV's on. They're starting to talk about it. That's where the Mexico thing comes in, I think, actually.
Yes.
Talking about what's going on, and Krasinski's like, oh, what's happening? And the guy's like, I don't know, some sort of explosion or something. It's like, all right. And then he's like, you know, small town living. He's like, I got to go over to the game. He's like, can I pay you for the food later? And the guy's like, yeah, absolutely, no problem. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just to show everybody gets along with everybody. It's a nice small knit
quiet
community.
town. Everyone's friendly. They go over to the Little League game. Bunch of people at the Little League game. The son, this is where we learn the son has a crippling anxiety problem where he's supposed to bat, and the mother's like, hey, it's going to be all right. Relax, chill, you'll be fine.
Yeah, when I saw him up to bat and afraid of the ball, I went a little easier on him.
Right.
Because when I started off playing Little League, I was afraid to bat. And once I got it, once I hit the ball once, no problem. But, you know, the first like, I don't know, half a season, I was afraid I was going to get hit.
Right. Which is understandable.
I'm like, all right, I'm there with you, kid. I got you. Okay, that's fine.
So
if I went back and watched the first one, I'd be a little easier on him.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like that's a scene that if they had used it in the first film, it would have made me more sympathetic to everything.
Yeah, instead of him just being a wimp, which is how he comes off.
Right, comes off as a complete fucking weenie.
Yeah.
So as he's batting, we see fire in the sky. Unfortunately, not the film.
Right.
But, you know, and everyone, they all kind of look and they're like, all right, game's over.
And it's a huge meteor coming down.
Yeah.
On fire, smoke, little pieces trailing off around it.
Everybody, let's go.
Yeah, and everybody smartly starts to go for their cars.
Yep.
As you do.
And then, you know, obviously there's chaos just because everyone's trying to get away. They don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen when that thing hits the earth? Is it going to be like nobody knows anything.
Right.
Nobody knows anything. But one of the aliens is there.
Well, I was confused by this.
Yes.
They say they sent some people to check out where it hit. That's what the cop says.
Yep.
It didn't hit. Because if you could send some people over there, the ground would have shook, the windows would have blown out. None of that happened. It was like nothing happened. It didn't even break the sound barrier. You remember the Russian dash cam of that one that came down, and it lit up the night like it was daytime, right?
Yep.
Nothing. It was the most boring impact ever. It was so quiet. Like, I don't know. Is that an alien engineered quiet crash? I'm not sure. Because it didn't have any of the normal impact things that go along with it. So I didn't know it hit.
Dude, what is up with your mic? It sounds like shit all of a sudden.
Oh, it's because I took a shit on it.
No, it's like,
hold on. I got my GarageBand thing is
it's like crackly and stuff.
Oh. Hold on. Let me close GarageBand down because I don't know why I have it open.
Anyway, so why you're doing that, Ella? So I mean, I love the beginning. I love this first 10 minutes of the film. I love seeing that when it's a much more kind of standard like alien invasion flick. When that alien hits the town, man, like it just fucking kills everything, and his shit just goes crazy immediately.
Yeah, as it should. Do I sound any better?
No, it sounds like an interference, or it's what it sounds like is like you're holding it and like making noise.
Oh. All right, let me try now. How about now?
No.
Any better?
Nope. It sounds like interference from maybe the cable or something.
All right. Let me mute myself. You talk. And I'll,
okay.
Make
so,
a change.
So that first 10 minutes, I feel like it set like a great world, and then we are immediately dumped into the final moments of the first film, which I'm liking it, but I don't know.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Do I sound any better now?
I can't tell. Scott said he's not hearing it. Maybe it's his headphones.
Okay.
Or maybe it's my headphones. Just we're fine. Go.
So Krasinski and the daughter Reagan, they run into a store, and this to me shows how stupid and selfish these people are. Where does Krasinski hide? 6 feet into the store, in front of the door, in the middle of the floor. Right?
Yep.
Just in everybody's way, because fuck you. Right? Oh, and Krasinski now is the one that's figured out before everybody else that it's attracted to sound. Fucker, almost everything's attracted to sound. Like, that's how animals hunt, except unless you're a fish. So, come on. And then the girl's phone goes off. The creature comes through the window. They run to the back. They get outside. And then in the most unbelievable part of the movie, they outrun the alien creature in the middle of the street in a wide open area. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. I like the origin sequence of this film. It's really the only part of the film that I liked. I as soon as we got dumped back into the world of post Krasinski dying, I was just like,
yeah,
I don't fucking care. You brought this baby into the world. He sacrificed himself despite the fact that she had just had a brand new baby when she didn't need to. He didn't need to.
Yeah.
First of all, she didn't need to have a baby.
Right.
Second of all, Krasinski didn't. You will not. I dare somebody to write into outsidethecinema@gmail.com and tell me why John Krasinski's character Lee needed to die in the first movie.
Because he's not smart.
He didn't want to star in the second one.
He's
like, I can't work with my wife on set like this. I'm just going to direct.
Yeah. Also, let me just put this out there. This movie does not show off either of their acting skills.
No, it really doesn't.
At all. She is terrible.
Yeah.
I've seen her in amazing stuff, and she does a great job. And Krasinski's fine. I don't have a love or hate for him at all. He's fine. But in this, they're like statues making the shush sound. That's it. And a couple of sign language arguments. It doesn't showcase any of their talents. And really the beginning stuff with the baseball stuff, it's like, well, I imagine that's how they just talk to each other when they're hanging out. So is that acting? Because I mean, if you're on set with your wife talking about what are the kids doing, it's not really acting. Anyway.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right.
Anyway, I really thought that she was very underdeveloped.
Everything in the story, everything in the story is just so half-assed and half-written and half-explained, and then again, it's about setting this world up, and then you have to follow the rules that you're setting.
Yeah.
Not break them at every single turn. I mean, how many times in this sequel, everyone in the family is barefoot, but then Cillian Murphy's character's wearing big work boots.
Because they're stupid. They're stupid.
So they take
and
out.
Here was my note. Still with the no shoes, and I'm like, all right, it's the same day, so I guess that's fine. So that doesn't really count. So
they decide they got to move out of the house. They have to find another place. So in the first film, we saw that they would light the fire at the top of the silo so that everyone that had a place would light a fire so that you would know that there was others out there.
Yeah.
So they decide to move towards one of these fires to hopefully link up with somebody else.
Yep. You send the Hobbit up to light the fire, and then Gondor's lit the flame. So let's rally our armies and go.
Yep.
But that doesn't matter. Who gives a shit if there's people out there if you don't get together to help each other out?
Right. And that's another thing that's like, they eventually get there.
Whoa.
All
Hold
right.
on. Hold on. We're missing the thing that pissed me off the most.
Go for it.
The most. And I watched this scene a couple of times just to make sure I saw it the way I wanted it to see it. Okay. Just because you cut the power cord off of something, that doesn't make it portable. She cuts the power cord off of the small amp. And later on, she can turn the fucking thing on.
Yeah. I actually forgot about that.
That pissed me. Like, she doesn't hook a battery up to it. She cuts the cord at the back of the box and fucking takes it.
Yeah, they don't show her wiring up a power source or anything.
No, and we know she can do it because later was it the first one? She cut the speaker out of the space shuttle toy and left it at the kid's grave.
Yeah.
Cutting the power cord off of something just makes it useless. It doesn't make it wireless.
It makes it useless unless you do something to it, but you have to fucking show that.
They didn't, because there was nothing. She hooked that school lunch today is ham and cheese, that microphone to it. And that's it.
Yep.
What the fuck?
I mean, we're supposed to. I mean, that's the biggest issue. Andrew in the chat room is talking about how many plot holes you can make a pothole quilt out of this movie. It's so true, though. But that's
called
like
a fishing net. That's called a fishing net.
But it's so true in terms of, like, yeah, they take the time to show her cutting the thing off of it.
Yeah.
But then don't show her making it work without a power source.
Because they didn't. They thought nobody will notice this. Well, I don't know. Everybody that's used a fucking amp will probably notice that. That's a good, like, 2, 3, 4 million people.
Here's the thing. Why are you going to show that but not show the other part of it? It's like you very easily could have just showed her picking up the amplifier and then not cutting the cord, like not show the part of cutting the cord off and then to have her use it later on. And I would question that less than taking the time to show them cut the cord off.
Yeah, it would have been better if she had some kind of rechargeable, large, portable battery, like one you use to jumpstart a car or something, and she slings that on her back and straps the amp to her.
Hang on, keep talking.
Like all Alien style, you could do it, and then then you have the tension of when is the power going to run out for this thing, right? So. He's putting his headphones back in. So what I'm saying is, if you have a portable battery for something.
See this, guys? Because you guys are watching. Sponsor for this week's show is Anchor. It's not really, but they're a company that I use to like power my cameras and stuff. This battery pack here. Look at this. Right there.
Yeah. And then if she carried that with her, right?
Yep.
Then you can build tension around the charge left in that. And then when that runs out, she's fucked.
Yeah.
And that would be great tension.
Yeah.
Instead, it's this, fucking invincible defense device.
Ridiculous.
So the family has a Samwise Gamgee moment where the mom gets to the end of this sand path, and has the moment where she's like, "Mr. Frodo, if I take one more step, this will be the furthest I've ever been from the Shire," and then makes a big deal about it. It's like, fucking, you have to go. Yeah. What choice do you have? Your whole house is on fire. Fucking leave. This isn't a thing. This is survival. This isn't like, I don't want to go. I like being home and smoking my pipe weed and going to the Green Dragon. It's to fucking keep your kids alive.
Yeah.
So what do? They decide to squeeze through a tiny opening in a chain link fence. And then they're barefoot and they're not looking down where they're going. Because there's a booby trap. And we're not talking like Vietnam jungle booby traps that you can't see. We're not talking predator jungle traps. We're talking big old twine right across the path.
Yep.
Like to stop a creature, to alert to that the creature's coming. And she trips it. Yep. And a bunch of bottles fall down. because that's what the fucking family should have done in the first place. And then the kid runs because she says run, and they don't look where they're running, and he gets caught in a fucking bear trap. At this point, based off of his behavior in the last movie, I will say this. He's maybe the best actor in the whole movie. Because I really believed that he had maybe they did really catch his leg in a bear trap.
I wouldn't be surprised.
His screams were the way that Quint described how people getting bit by sharks scream.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good. And I would have shot him in the head.
The reaction is good.
Yeah.
But everything else is so bad. I can't understand, in a world where you have to pay attention to every move that you make, they can bungle entering this area so badly.
She's dumb. She's dumb. They should all be dead. They should have been dead before they got there. So they run into the rundown industrial complex, and you have a character that is now introduced, and he puts his hand over her mouth and does the shishy finger thing, and I'm like, 2 years into this, you got to tell somebody to be quiet, like they're a special kind of stupid. Like, yeah, your hand's over my mouth. I fucking get it, Johnny. I'm gonna be quiet. Fucking.
Also, hey, wait a minute. Back to the bear trap for a second.
Yeah,
I've never had a limb caught in a bear trap, but like, a bear trap would shatter your leg, correct?
It should have broken it, yeah.
He's up and walking around like 10 minutes after it happened, or he gets like a couple hours sleep, and then he's up and walking around.
She actually does say, we're lucky it didn't hit the bone.
How did it not hit the bone?
But doesn't that mean that it would have cut through some tendons, maybe? I mean, it hit low enough that there's not a lot of muscle down there, like unlike the calf. But if it didn't sever his Achilles tendon, then he's super fucking lucky.
Well, also, like, if he set that there to stop the aliens, and it's not even going to break a 10-year-old's ankle?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It would just tear it off its arm. It would be like, all right, whatever.
Oh.
And if you're setting it up, like, you could put a big arrow that says bear trap, so like humans don't walk into it.
And what is this deal with airline food? No, like, what is the deal with when the world starts to end? Nobody wants to talk to anybody anymore. Like,
yeah.
Like,
before that, hold on. Before that. So the creature starts crawling down the wall. Like, okay, good. It's got super long arms. It's physical. The way it looks, the proportions are enough to give you the creeps. That's fine. So when it's climbing down the wall, it's like, oh, here it comes. And then they run. They don't walk. They run. They run, carrying a baby, a kid with a broken body. They don't know where they're going. The whole place is filled with metal that clangs and makes noise, which is good for distractions, by the way, but that was never used. And then a mom carrying a crate with a fucking baby who just gave birth the day before. Also
stepped on a nail right through her foot.
Yeah. I think we're getting back into how could Shaw outrun this shit in Prometheus territory. Outruns a fucking alien that on its Wikipedia site says can travel 300 miles an hour. How?
Man.
Even if it traveled at the speed of a cheetah at 70 miles an hour, they should be fucking dead. But instead,
even if it traveled at the speed of an average marathon runner, they should have been dead.
I mean, but it had
none of these people should have survived the first 20 minutes of the first movie.
No, really shouldn't. Really shouldn't. I mean, their saving grace is the special effects guys wanted to do a cool, let's have it run along the catwalk thing instead of, just run on the ground and kill them. So it's Emmett. It's Emmett, the guy that was at the baseball game earlier in the movie, who's played by Cillian Murphy. who is, I would say, the best actor in the movie.
He's actually, you know what? I like Cillian Murphy in general, and he does the best he possibly can with what he's given to work with in this movie.
Yeah. I wrote Emmett and the kid, the bear trap kid, are the most realistic in their survival ideas. Stay put and stay quiet.
Yep.
Because I mean, if you think about it, at some point, if these things don't eat, they should die. Because they don't have any intake.
What do they eat?
They don't have any intake to support, their metabolism. They move too fast and all just they move too fast. They're thin. They're almost emaciated. So they're burning up whatever fuel supply they have inside their body. But no, Reagan hears a song and decides to go out and find where it's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot more to it than that, because like Emmett very much is like, you can't stay here. Like, you can't stay here. You're gonna,
you are a fucking dumbass.
He's like, you guys, I watched you make 35 different plot holes walking into the place. You're laying so many plot holes out that I'm gonna trip and fall and I'm gonna be dead because of you, essentially.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, if you saw somebody come into your place and the one rule is be quiet, and you saw them just fucking roll up in a bunch of tanks clanging, jingle bells, you'd kick them the fuck out too.
So Scott's saying in the chat room, I watch these movies with the tension and emotion in mind, and I ignore the holes. I said, I don't know if Scott was listening when I was talking earlier. I can absolutely suspend belief with a couple of spots when there's holes, but when the entire movie continuously breaks its own rules and in different ways, I can't get invested in any tension. The second one, especially the second movie, just straight up sucks. I can't overlook that stuff when it becomes basically you have to ignore everything. You have to ignore everything. If it's the type of movie where you can ignore everything, then yeah, cool. But this isn't set up like that. This is set up in a more realistic way in terms of how everyone is surviving.
Yeah, this isn't Chud.
Or Star Wars or something where, like, yeah, it's out in space. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Man, so they are, so Regan puts the headphones on the brother because she's trying to use the white noise to make him stop thinking about the pain that he's in. Mm-hmm. Pretty smart, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, somewhere along Beyond the Sea comes on.
Right.
And he's like, I hear music. And so the daughter is very much like, okay, there's something to this.
Right. Also, this did not do her character any justice, because she's the calm, collected one. She gets mad at Emmett because he says that it's been playing for 4 months, and she basically says, "You're a fucking liar. My father would have heard it." And he's like, "Not in the valley, dipshit."
See, but that's the type of stuff when I talk about, you're like, oh, it's just, you just got to put it out of your mind and overlook it. Like, they bring reality type stuff into it. Yeah. So it's like, they're very much like, that makes complete sense. You guys are on the other side of the valley. You're not going, or we're in the valley, whatever it doesn't matter. That's a reality piece that you're bringing into it. So yes, radio waves and everything works the way that they do in real life. So it's one more thing.
You've set up a very specific rule for the creature. It's attracted to sound. But it also, came from space, we find out in this. And if it came from space, how did the impact not kill them?
The impenetrable armor that they have.
You mean
but only when it needs to be impenetrable.
Well, how did the sound of the meteor entering Earth's atmosphere not drive them absolutely insane from audio overload?
Again, details. All right,
I'm totally fine with not knowing where they came from or why.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. But I need to. Okay, we need to get to this as we're already starting to go along. Let's talk about the fucking doc people.
Hold on. I got one thing before that.
Okay.
Reagan takes off, and the mom pulls this manipulative guilt trip on Emmett like it's his fucking responsibility to go get the kid. She says to him, if Lee was alive, he would tell you that she is worth live. She deserves to live. And he would tell you to go get her. It's like, bitch, go get your own fucking kid.
He's like, I'm already trying to kick you out of here. I already told you have to leave. She's the only one that listened.
She's being so manipulative to this guy. And I don't care how long you've known them. Like, the rules have changed. He lost everybody. You have a family. First of all, clearly, he's not good at it.
Right.
Second, you're just dumb luck bumbling your way through keeping your kids alive. You fucking go get her. I want you out. Get the fuck out. Go find your kid.
Yeah. It's so she guilts him into following her. And here's the other thing. Like, she goes out and, like, the first opportunity that she comes across something that's going to, like, obviously make it very apparent that she's out there to the aliens. Mm-hmm. She totally fumbles. Like, fumbles and is about to get murdered if he hasn't showed up.
This whole scene pissed me off so bad. It was so poorly executed. So she's in Resident Evil 0 at this part on the train, and she finds a first aid kit, which you do, and she does that, and a corpse falls on her arm, and she makes a noise. Fine, you're scared. I get it.
Yep.
She doesn't immediately look around and see the creature coming toward her, because we need to build tension. So we switch to her oral ear point, and we see this thing crawling through the train. She sees it. She turns on her magic guitar amp, balances the gun on her knee on the trigger guard, turns the amp on, does the whole ear thing, and then fires a 12-gauge shotgun with one hand, and it doesn't fucking move at all.
Or injure her in any way.
My father thought it'd be funny when we were skeet shooting one time, had me hold the shotgun out with one hand and fire it on the range. And that fucking, I was like 17 years old. I was, in better shape than I am now. So fairly strong. And that gun went up over my head and back, and it burned the back of my leg because it went that far. And I tried to hold it still. That gun should have leapt out of her hands, knocked her fucking unconscious.
Yeah, she's like a 75-pound, like 5'2" girl.
Even Rambo, when he's firing that M60, I remember seeing like that in AK-47s. If you fire them one-handed, any kind of machine gun will travel up and to the right. They said even somebody with Stallone's build at the time of Rambo 2 wouldn't have been able to hold that gun steady with one hand. So there's no way, balanced on the trigger guard, she's gonna fire this thing and it not move. And then to top the shit off, Emmett kills the creature by firing toward Reagan. And that bullet just apparently blew the thing's head off and then stopped before it hit our main character.
Yeah.
Don't shoot towards somebody.
So many bad decisions.
Fuck.
So many bad decisions.
The next morning, Reagan wakes up and her implant is gone. And we find out that Emmett has it. He didn't leave a fucking note.
Where did he go?
Hey, I needed your self-defense device so I could see if there's any boats around. He went to look for boats.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay.
I'll be right back. Instead, the kid has a full-on breakdown. And then he shows up like she didn't see him coming. Like she's in a train yard.
She didn't see him coming because she was too busy crying.
Of them. Yeah.
Oh, my head hurts.
And then we find out that the mom's running low on oxygen for the baby. Oh, hey, guess what? Stop fucking using it. You don't need it every goddamn time. Baby makes a peep. Put it on, close the lid. Don't have it on all the time. Also, pure oxygen probably isn't great for a baby all the time.
Ah!
Next.
So they travel towards the water. He's like, I found boats. They start making the walk.
Yeah.
They get to the dock down
Yep.
there. They see the island out in the distance. And Regan, Emmett, both of them see a little girl sitting at the end of the dock. Just
Have
alone.
these people not watched a TV show ever or a movie?
Well, here's the problem. Earlier in the film, Emmett says the people that are left out there are not the people that are worth saving.
Yeah.
He says that because he apparently knows something that the rest of us don't about some of the people that have survived and have managed to be out and about in large groups and not been killed by the monsters.
Yeah.
And he just forgets all of it and is like, we got to help this little girl.
Yeah.
Which then she puts a rope around his neck that's tied to a bunch of bottles clanging together.
Yep.
The monsters don't immediately show up apparently though, because they have to play the scene out first before the monster shows up.
Yep.
And then there's probably 30 people, 25, 30 people in this
there's about 20 or 30 rickety crickets running around there.
And so I guess they're cannibals maybe, or like it's never really said. We don't know where they came from. We don't know how they survived. We don't know why they're going after them.
Well, here's the funny thing to me, and this is just pedantic. This is just stupid bullshit. It's a joke.
Yes, shallow and pedantic.
They live near the water, and they are the dirtiest motherfuckers I've ever seen. Like, come on. Really?
Wait, what?
Fucking wash yourself. They live near the water.
Oh, man. And they know the creatures can't swim. The creatures can't swim.
No, they can't swim because their bodies are dense, but nothing says they can't survive in the water. Because that other one in the other house in the basement flooded, it went under the water and crawled along the bottom. For a really actually sweet reveal of it coming up on the baby's crib.
Yeah.
I will say that looked nice. So they can survive in the water. Their bodies aren't made for swimming. They have a denser physiology, so that's fine.
We didn't mention this, but at the time that all this is happening, essentially the mother has gone out to get the more oxygen and left the kid with the fucking bear trap leg with the baby.
Yeah, and
he tells her,
don't do this.
He says to her, don't leave me here with the baby. Don't. I don't know what to do. I can't handle it. Like, you know me. Like,
yeah. Have you met me?
Don't do this. And within 5 minutes of her leaving, he's got them locked in the airtight thing with no oxygen.
Yeah. Because he decided to go explore.
Yes.
Like a fucking idiot.
But that doesn't play into his character because they very much are like, he is so afraid of everything.
Yeah.
He wouldn't go up there and look.
Yeah.
Again, breaking your own rules that you're setting up for your character. He's afraid of everything. He's going to do everything in his power to not cause a problem.
Yeah,
because he is so scared of everything. But no, he's going to go up and look.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie. Fuck this movie. Scott says he really enjoyed it. Fuck Scott.
No, that's fine if he enjoyed it.
It was his first theater experience in like 3 years or whatever it was. But no, but like I can't. Between that, the random cannibals, like, you know, the getting to the island, there's just too much. You just changed too much. There's too many things going on, none of which are playing by the rules that you've set through a universe you've now built up over 2 movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Then there's a couple times where they try to do something interesting where they're like, oh, all the characters are crossing bridges, you know, to show, you know, symbolic character development, I guess. I don't give a shit. The mom goes and gets the air tanks after she spends hours at her kid's fucking grave, and then she leaves her wedding ring, and like, why? It would have made more sense to leave his wedding ring, or a picture of him, or nothing, an ear of corn, something. So she gets back. The kid's already fucked up by finding Emmett's dead wife. And the monster's now stalking them. And this genius human being decides to try to kill the creature with fire, the very thing it was exposed to as it crashed to Earth. It survived a flaming meteor crash. And there's conflicting ideas on whether or not they were inside of it or clinging to the outside of it. Regardless, it's probably invulnerable to fire, as we find out. And then she sets off the sprinklers, and I'm like, oh shit, she's gonna Alien 3 this thing, and we're gonna find a new way to kill him. Nope, it's just wet now.
Yep. And it can still differentiate, apparently, some of the sounds, but not all of them.
Yeah. So then we switch back over to the Docksiders, which is what I'm calling that gang. And the one ASL thing that Emmett learned now is useful. Dive into the water. And she doesn't. She falls. And then we watch the two aliens come through and just rip these rickety crickets apart. And it jumps onto a boat and attacks 3 of them who were dead quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So can it echolocate? Does it know that there are people there? Did it guess? I don't know.
I don't know either.
And then Emmett gets pulled into a boat. You ever get pulled into a boat?
No, actually.
It's fucking noisy.
But they're in the water.
Yeah, but that other one could leap over to it.
Well, we don't know how
those fuckers jump far.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to hold this part against them because we see that they can't survive in the water, or they can't at least like do anything once they're in the water. And we know that there's that one that climbed onto that other boat, but we don't know where that boat is in relation to where they're at.
Okay. All right.
And also, they're in the little teeny boat, so maybe it knows that if it jumps onto that boat, it's just going to crumble and it'll end up in the water anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'm not going to hold. I mean, I'm holding a lot against this movie. That's when I'll let it go.
All right. Okay. I do think that with such a large ear canal, I mean, the ear canal is like the size of a human's face. I would think that it would have some kind of tympanic membrane over it like frogs do, because like if you get just a little bit of water in that thing, like it's gonna hurt. It would just be in constant pain.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
So we're pulling a signs here where they're no, but the other one went in the water. It went under the water.
It went under the water, but it also was in a small body of water in a room, and it kept its head helmet thing was all together, and it wasn't
helmet. Yeah.
Again, okay, so now we're just digging it too deep. We're just digging a hole where there's no way we're going to dig out of.
But because what I initially was thinking is because that thing could survive underwater, and if they could survive in space, I don't think they breathe. So I don't know why they make noise. If it could survive in water, then the one that fell in the water probably survived. But there's no way it could have made it to the island. It probably would have fallen in the water and be exposed to an entirely new soundscape because of the way sound travels underwater.
Right.
So it would have had all these things that was probably be trying to catch and kill down there.
Right.
So that one, okay, fine. That one's gone.
Well, so now they get to the island, and they're obviously very questionable about what's going on the island because of the fucking weirdos they met at the dock.
I have to say, them coming across a group of people acting normally, it feels like when you walk past a bunch of people without masks on now.
Right, yeah.
You're like, what the fuck is wrong with them?
Like, what's
this
happening?
Is so weird.
What's happening?
Yeah.
So so obviously one of the aliens gets to the island because it was on that boat, and somehow that boat just happened to magically make it there.
Yeah.
Fine, okay, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Then there's the whole thing going back on with them back at the fucking steel factory.
The alien was very polite and waited until Emmett noticed the boat
Yeah.
to attack.
I guess the idea is supposed to be that it just washed up like moments ago. Like he heard it washing up.
Sure.
All right.
It's in a fucking cove.
He also apparently the alien was also very tired from the trip because he waited for Emmett to not only notice the boat, but then run back to the town
screaming. Yeah.
And start to warn them.
Yeah.
Before it decided to attack. It was like it forgot what it was doing there.
Yep. It had to get his land legs back.
If I had $1, man, for every time in this movie, specifically like somebody did something stupid, like I would have the budget to make another sequel of it. Like,
it is a little refreshing to see stupid people do stupid things.
Right, but it's like the guys on the island seem like they've got their shit together. Yeah. They know what's going on enough to like be smart. They were playing the song to try so people could try to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then, the main guy that was in fucking Captain Marvel,
Jimon
Hansen. He's there after the alien attacks. He takes Emmett and Reagan to the radio station, and he's like, "All right, I have to go. I have to take care of my family."
Yoink!
Immediately dead.
Yeah.
Like that. Did you really think that wasn't going to happen? He sets it. I think we drove too fast. It's like, well, you've obviously never seen one of these things, so.
I can outrun it, but it's the fastest fucking thing on earth.
Right. Oh, man. So fucking.
Okay, so they don't make any noise. They don't make any noise going inside the radio station. Why is the alien still hunting them?
With all of the noise, I'm assuming going back on at the town. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah. So Reagan attaches her microphone thing, her implant to the microphone, which apparently feeds back near a microphone. So okay, I can see that. You get computer components, microphones, magnets, whatever.
Absolutely.
It'll feed back, and then she flicks the switch so it plays on the studio in studio speakers, and it starts to tweak. And now apparently a pipe works. Just metal conduit for electrical wires is enough to take these things out.
Well, what's interesting about that is we see her swing the metal pipe at it, but then it's stabbed in its head. So and then just like the first one, it just fucking ends.
Yeah.
It just ends. And I know that's a conscious decision that Krasinski made.
Yeah.
Like he chooses to do that. We don't know any of the shit that happened. Like, the baby run out of oxygen? How is the family going to get back together?
She had one tank, so.
But like, how is the family going to get back together? Are they going to get back together? Because they separate them.
Right.
And then never make an attempt to bring them back together.
No, the only thing we get in the conversation is that it was 2 days.
Yeah. So it was a short amount of time, but
And Reagan could, oh no, she can't. I was going to say Reagan could tell them over the radio.
No.
She might. I mean, she can speak a little, not very loudly from what we've seen, but yeah.
I don't know, man.
Does Emmett die? I know he gets slashed in the leg.
No, he's okay. I think he survives.
Okay. I think what we need now, if they do another one, is we need to know something about these aliens.
We need to open it up to the rest of the world. I'm done with this family. I'm done with their decisions. Go big or go home at this point.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the military has secret technology that we don't know about, but we also know that there are sound guns, there are microwave guns. Like, I don't care what kind of animal you are. If you fire a microwave gun at it, it's going to cook all the soft parts
Yeah.
through armor. Um, it would be interesting to see if the rural areas were the ones that were just like fucking destroyed, and cities like New York can still print newspapers because they all escaped from New York to that shit and put up walls super fast.
Yeah, right.
That would be interesting. All their struggle for nothing if they had to just walked south for
Right.
2 days.
But that, I mean, that's kind of part of it too, which is interesting. Is like the island community, for example, has been able to survive on their own for 400 and something days. But as soon as these outsiders show up, everything immediately goes to hell.
As soon as one motherfucker with COVID shows up,
Right.
y'all got COVID.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that who was it? Was it Darren? Who was talking about the idea that they're like a right wing conspiracy film or something?
Oh, did somebody say that was like Ben Shapiro or something? That little fucker.
I know somebody in the Facebook brought that up, that they think that there's like,
yeah.
and they didn't personally think this, but they had said
no,
that
somebody else did. Yeah.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it here. I don't care about any of this here. Let's see here. Darren said, I watched the first one once, and other than wondering why they didn't set up close enough to the waterfall, I liked it fine. I've been thinking about a rewatch after I ended up watching. I have been thinking about a rewatch after I ended up watching suspected helium enthusiast Ben Shapiro going on and on about how A Quiet Place is really a conservative values film.
How?
I don't know. Look that up.
I don't want to watch him.
I don't want to.
I don't. I mean, I will watch any movie you put in front of me, but I draw the line at Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Matt Getz.
That's fair. That is fair. Well,
Somebody
in that case,
tell us about it.
In that case, then. All right, Chris. A Quiet Place parts 1 and 2. Give them each a grade, whether you recommend them, and then kind of an overall, please.
Okay.
Happy 700, buddy.
I know. This was fun.
This was your idea. I just want to put that out there for everyone.
It was my idea. Yeah. Okay. As a one and done for each of these, I would recommend it, because if you can ignore everything we just said, the tension is there.
The 1 hour and 45 minutes of.
Yeah, they did build tension. If you don't delve too deep into it. If you don't think about, all of the anachronistic stuff that happens when this is supposed to go on. Like, I get it. You're putting up flyers because that's what happened after 9/11. You want people to instantly identify with a natural disaster. That's fine.
Yeah, you're putting up all the flyers outside where you can't go because you'll get murdered the second you step outside.
I know. But I would recommend it. I like the design of the creature. I don't necessarily like how the plates on the head aren't used to direct sound. They're just basically, it's like if we opened up our chest to show somebody that we love them. Like that's the extent of it. It's like, I have ears. But those crests don't fan out in any particular way to focus on the sound. Anyway, back to what I was saying. It's perfectly fine for a one-time watch. It's nothing. There's nothing inherently wrong with them. It's just the rules they set get lost in the filmmaking. To allow things to happen, it's like the creatures are overpowered, so they have to find ways around that. And that's why stuff like Superman is allergic to rocks from his home planet, and he doesn't do well against magic because he was too powerful. So they had to find weaknesses for him. So okay. You know what though? For somebody that's never written a horror movie, not bad. It's a sci-fi movie, but still. And because it's a sci-fi movie is why I'm much harder on it.
Right.
Because anytime something is described as really smart, the dickhead asshole in me leans back in the chair, crosses its arms, and says, fucking prove it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Like, for instance, I love The Witch. Not a huge fan of The Lighthouse. I
Okay.
still liked it, but it wasn't what everybody said it was. Not that that's sci-fi, but you know
Right.
what I mean.
Right.
The performances were fantastic. I need to watch it again, is what I'm saying. Um, as far as creature design goes, it would get a decently high grade, but as a movie in itself, I'm just gonna go. I know we just talked shit about this thing for like 4 days, but the first one, when I first watched it, I actually did enjoy it, and it was the second one that made me question a whole lot more in it. So I'm gonna give the first one a B minus. It's a well-made movie. It's got its tense parts, and the CG creatures really do look nice,
Because they
they're
don't
used
overuse them.
they're used sparingly, right? They're used for tension. The second one is just a C. It's a middle act follow up of what we know is going to be a 3-act movie.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah,
See now, okay.
I'm being nice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've just talked shit on these movies for the last hour and 50 minutes, but I mean, if you take them independently, so okay, so I'm gonna kind of look at this like maybe like three different ways. The first film on its own is like you said, it's pretty good. I really like the way it looks. I think the CG in the way it's sparingly used is good. I
Mm,
think the plot holes are less frustrating without the second film. They're still
yes,
frustrating. And
yes.
because people love this movie and people want to talk about how this is a new benchmark and this is changing the game, I'm obviously going to be more critical of it because it's not doing that. I mean, it's not they're not even following the rules they set for themselves, which shows it's
Mhm.
not a well-written film. It's tense in a lot of points for sure.
Yeah,
I love John Krasinski. I love Emily Blunt. I think uh as you said, for him taking the helm on, trying to write a horror movie, not being a horror guy,
mm,
okay, fine. But it's, there's a lot of issues with the fact that you're changing your rules to
yeah.
illustrate whatever scene you're trying to do.
And why have them click if you're not gonna expand
Because
on that?
they click because it sounds cool in a movie that has a very sparse soundtrack. That's why they
That's
click.
true. That's true.
That's why they click. Um, So, I mean, on its own, part one is probably like a C. I have a lot of issues with the way
Mm,
it goes. I like the way it looks. I think the characters are so underdeveloped. The decisions that are made are poor, but it looks good. It's tense. Okay. Okay.
mm.
It's not the groundbreaking film people want to make it out to be, but all right. The second film, on the other hand, is garbage. The first 10 minutes, into it.
Yeah.
But then when you just blow the whole thing open and then continuously make changes based on, again, your scenes, knowing that we already have a universe that's been built from the first film that didn't
Mm.
follow its rules. And then like the fucking cannibals at the dock, the idyllic midsummer life on the friggin' island,
Yeah.
uh the like all the bad decisions. The kid who's afraid of his own shadow, but apparently has the balls to go out and look and see what's going on. The mother leaving a newborn baby with the kid that's afraid of his own shadow. It's just
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's frustrating. It's annoying. The second one gets a D from me. Is it doesn't even
Mm.
really look that good because they show you the aliens so much more
Hmm.
that like it's to the point of like it's not interesting anymore because you just keep showing me.
Yeah.
So when you look at the two together, the second film hurts the first film because thinking about the decisions made in the second film based on what's set up in the first film makes it even more frustrating.
Mm. Yeah.
So the two of them together are like a D plus for me. They're well-made films. They're very poorly written. Your character arcs are non-existent. And it makes me sad because I like Krasinski and Blunt so much. I enjoy the
Mm.
two of them. I think, both of them do great things. And I've seen a petition going around that they should be the two from for the married couple in Fantastic Four. I think that could be interesting. Well,
Yeah. I don't buy him as the smartest man on earth.
I don't know. If it's a well-written film, maybe.
I buy him as the dumbest man on earth that
Yeah.
would sacrifice himself. Like, what's he gonna do at Fantastic Four? Walk up to Doom and go, "Why don't you just kill me? I'll save my kids if you kill me." And
Well,
then
it'll
he'll
be a
die.
different character, Chris, so it probably won't come to that.
I don't see him. I don't see him.
I don't know. It'd be
Mr.
more interesting
Fantastic.
than this. I'd rather see that than another Quiet Place movie.
Well,
So-
we will have another one, you know.
So
that.
together, I mean, they're well made. They're not terrible films, but they're just, for me, if you're setting that world and you're trying to make your own rules, we've said this before. Can't tell you how many times. You have to follow your own rules to a point.
Mhm.
Couple places you divulge things, you maybe change the game, things, And the other issue is that not enough time passes in these movies for major changes to happen.
We're talking like 5 days tops from
Well,
the main
hell, if we're even
storyline.
taking the whole thing, we're talking a year and a half,
Oh yeah, that's true.
right? In a
Yeah.
year and a half, are those people that become the cannibals going to really devolve that, de-evolve that much, and like
That's true.
become just insane, crazy, like, and for no reason? There's no reason. Then there's no reason given.
Although you don't think, you don't think that there are people out there that would instantly go to that because now they finally can?
I mean, maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know. Throwing that in there, whatever. Okay. Breathe.
It would have been way cooler if it was like guys in like blazers and boat shoes. Who like they went because it's their boats.
They're
so
pissed
they went
because the
there for their
cotillion was
boats.
canceled.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into Scott and Joe's segments, Andrew from the UK did send an email that I want to read. He's hanging
Nice.
out with us in the chat room today, too. Andrew says, I meant to congratulate you on 13 years, but traditionally I'm late to get in touch with you on everything. Emoji with a side eye. So here's your salute from me on 700 episodes. Makes me smug in a way that I discovered a brand new podcast that, while it sounded like amateurish shit to begin with, there's a backhanded compliment in there somewhere, I'm sure. And for some reason, I carried on listening anyway. Thanks, Andrew. And ended up staying the course. We listeners might not be in touch as often. Some of us have died or moved on, but that's just life today. Podcasting is so mainstream these days, but
No
I feel like you
shit.
guys are having the same kind of experience as other shows today. Nobody's interacting with indie shows the way they used to back in the day, but every once in a while, I want to reach out and let you know that the best of us are still here. Yes, Andrew's been around for a very long time as a fan.
Yeah.
And you still mean more than you'll know. I read that wrong. And you still mean more than you'll know or appreciate to us. I just don't do it because life and reasons and laziness.
That's fair.
I'm 100% right there with you, bud. Like I said, life today. So big love, and please keep doing what you're doing. Smiley face emoji. Incidentally, I was walking out a few weeks ago looking for podcasts I hadn't heard yet to fill the void in my ears, and I accidentally put on your Blob remake review again. Random episode. I'd heard it already, but I just let it play out again. Since first hearing it on your recommendation, I ordered a German Blu-ray of the movie and the Criterion Blu-ray of the original. I wanted to revisit that for some context before diving into the remake, and just generally had a great time watching them both and listening to your review. I still hunt down and buy movies that you've introduced me to. Just last week, like the Champagne and Bullets Blu-ray shimmied its way and slid its way into my post box. Shimmy, shimmy, swear. To make my life a little bit brighter. That's on you too. I've got that Blu-ray now, and I can't wait to watch it, to be honest. So yeah, here's to the next 13 years and 700 or so episodes. I still hate listening to the sound of my own voice, so I'm still not ringing in or trying to wrangle a co-hosting stint through my Patreon. But given how much I know you just love to read the shit out of this, it will be my gift, I'm sure. Oh, and A Quiet Place. They're fun films. It was nice doing the whole trying to eat quietly in the cinema thing. A bit of a zeitgeist in that respect. They're good. They're not great. I'm supposed to say that. It was good. It's not great. I didn't really have a great deal to say about it though. Have fun, eat lots of birthday cake, and try not to let those 700 candles burn the studio down. Andrew from York. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Nice.
Thank you for sticking around all these years.
I absolutely think it would be a different experience watching in the theater. I did not see either of them in the theater, so
Yeah, neither did I. Neither did I. All
I
right,
think
so now
that's
here's
an
the question
important
of the week,
caveat.
though, Chris.
What's that? What?
Quiet Place,
Hmm.
parts 1 and 2,
Yeah.
more or less frustrating than Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong?
Oh, less.
Less?
Much less.
All right, well, let's see. Let's see.
Much less.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris, and hello, OTC Nation. It's your boy Joe here, and, yep. Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong. Bill made me watch. Let's get into it. Not since Avengers Endgame have we seen such a titanic crossing over of characters. Can the screen handle such a monumental occasion? Will Charles Band be able to find enough shell companies to hide all of the money he's probably going to make from this one unimpeachable gem of a film? Will I want to paint over my eyeballs with a matte black nail polish so I never have to watch anything this stupid ever again? We'll find out. But, I mean, probably it's just that last one. I think my affinity for Full Moon Productions rests squarely on the shoulders of me never having watched anything they made after the early 2000s. Until Bill started making me watch stuff. I could have been content to remember the first 3 Puppet Master films, and one-offs like Netherworld, and the first few Trancer films. Hell, I even liked both Oblivion films, despite how cheesy they are.
All right.
But these late-era Full Moon movies are just stupid and lazy and really put on display the one thing we had always kind of heard. And that is that Charles Band, like a B-movie Vince McMahon, hates his audience and is secretly embarrassed by them. So here's how good this movie starts out. I'm maybe 5 minutes in and it stops to buffer. So all I'm looking at right now is like a swirling circle on the frozen screen, letting me know that there's a little hiccup in my Wi-Fi. And you know what? It's the best fucking part so far. I wish I was kidding about that, because after that, the next 25 minutes of the film consist of a recap of the first 3 Evil Bong films, none of the Ginger Dead Man films, and the only actor to appear in all of these, John Patrick Jordan as Larnell, selling bongs to idiots. Oh, and did I mention the Asian racism? Yeah,
No.
dig this. 2 tourists wander into the bong shop, a man and a woman. Larnell now owns the bong shop, and the guy, oh Jesus, the guy has 2 big fake buck teeth and a camera around his neck.
Of course.
The rest of the movie could be the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life, and it would still get a D for telling jokes so racist that Mickey Rooney would probably excuse himself from the room. I'll give them this. At least they're consistent. In all of the Evil Bong films, and I don't know about the Ginger Dead Man films because I haven't watched them, and Bill, I'm going to need you to know that there's a reason for that. And I'm begging you to be level-headed about it.
Fair.
Anyway, the consistency is that barely anything fucking happens in any of these movies. The past few reviews, I've kind of dragged Kevin Smith, and I think they're going for his style of filmmaking, where it's mostly based on characters talking to each other. But at least in Smith's films, the dialogue occasionally makes you chuckle. At least some kind of plot is progressed. At least I can pay attention to them. Evil Bong has failed the phone test so many times, I might as well have made this entire review about the subreddits Food Porn, Today I Learned, and Win Stupid Prizes. Trust, I recommend you browse those before you ever consider watching this. This, the worst so far, in a series so bad it makes the last 2 Jaws films look like the first 2 Jaws films. That might be taking a bit too far. Jaws 3 is a personal favorite of mine. I should say personal favorite bad film of mine. I recognize it's not good, but I still love it. Bill?
Yeah.
Billiam?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how obvious is it that I want to talk about anything other than this film?
I'd say a strong 8. Strong 8.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, while this bullshit is doing what all of these fucking movies have done so far, tell 90% of your story in the last half hour of a movie that's less than 90 minutes, I have news. After spending the last 3 years in the trash lands known as Detroit, my wife got a job offer back home on the other side of the state in Grand Rapids, and we're getting the fuck away from this hellhole where
Excellent.
everyone is about as smart as an Evil Bong film. The Aryan nation has a distinct presence, and you get called uppity for the crime of, checks notes, taking care of your lawn, which is, I kid you not, something that has actually happened to me. Here's the thing. The good. There's just enough nudity here that I will spare myself the black nail polish to the eyes. The bad is that this movie fucking exists at all. Ginger Dead Man vs. Evil Bong is going to get a D-. Next week, Evil Bong 420. And boy, does it feel 420. But here's the thing. After how bad this was, I'm actually kind of sort of looking forward to just getting back to an Evil Bong film. And I don't know if that says more about me or them. So that's where I'm at. Until then, be good, everyone. Fuck.
He didn't even mention what it was about.
No, he didn't.
It's like how does it how did they face off? And
Doesn't matter.
oh man, Joe, I know Joe's watching live with us today. I mean, I put you through this stuff because it makes quality fucking entertainment like we just heard. That's
Yeah.
so I will say that his 90 minutes of pain and torture is worth the 5 minutes of chuckles we get out of it. He's in the chat. He just says, it's not about anything.
Well, that's fair.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. Joe, thank you for being here each and every week, man. I really appreciate it. I love the segment, and I love putting him through the ringer. But it's worth it. It's worth it. All right. Speaking of worth it, there's no way Reverend Scott's segment can be worth it, right?
It never is.
No. He says it's the big one. Kinda.
Yeah, that's what they all
I
say.
guess.
Welcome to what will be the most legendary episode of Outside the Cinema for all time. The long-awaited, highly anticipated, over 13 years in the making, episode 700.
It's episode 700.
Wow.
We're not going to do anything special for it. We used to. We used to celebrate all of those things. Not anymore, though, man.
What are you talking about? I had this whole big thing planned.
You think I'd know that?
Yeah, well,
But I never know what number we're doing. It's just let's do a show.
I don't even have my nothing is plugged in. I am not prepared at all.
Oh, let me guess. You'd rather just do some cocaine.
I mean, I'm here. I could do some lines.
Forget it. Let's just start.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. With Reverend Scott.
There's a show. One Wife Will Live.
One Wife Will Live.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Horn Dog.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott. And no matter how much you might hate it, I told you I'd be back for episode 700. So here I am.
All right. So he's definitely the bad guy, but we're looking at a dude that at least delivers on what he says.
Not that you knew it was going to be episode 700.
We won't remember it's 700 next week until Reverend Scott says like, hey, congratulations on 700. And if he was clever, he would remind us in 701.
Fair.
It's not a bad idea. I'll have to do that next week. Oh, shit. I've been watching a bunch of stuff lately. Some good, some okay. And all of it has to wait because I just want to start with what you guys watched last week. And boy, was it a doozy of a show last week, wasn't it, Bill?
You know what? Evil Bong sucked. Both movies sucked. Scott's segment, it was great. Everything sucks. We'll try harder next week, I promise.
Well, at least I did good. Anyway, last week you covered Recoil and the return of the Superfly. So let's not waste any time. Let's talk about that first one.
Recoil.
Recoil with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Danny Trejo. I don't know why I picked that.
I'm glad you said that because there's no logical reason to have picked that.
Bill's self-hatred continues with this masterpiece. Here's the trailer for Recoil.
Whoa.
I don't know what this is, but it's not the movie. That's not the movie.
What is it?
I don't. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'll look for the real trailer. I'll play it later if I find it. While Recoil may star two men that have both contributed to great films, the combination of the two couldn't save this film from all but disappearing into obscurity. I'd explain the plot, but like Chris said before, we've all seen The Punisher, so why bother?
Come on. The Punisher at least had an interesting shirt.
Well, Stone Cold has a leather jacket.
So do 90% of dudes.
I have two.
His family was horribly murdered, but sure, Bill, make it about you. But, what more can I say? Nothing, hopefully.
Yeah, it's dumb.
I give it an A-. After that was the cult classic Return of the Superfly. Here's the trailer. As far as the plot goes, I think Superfly returns or something because something happened, but he doesn't want to return, but he has to because the script says so. I don't know. Can you explain it better, Chris?
I have okay. All right.
That about sums it up. Return of the Superfly almost made Bill end the show early.
Is it time to nope.
So I'll end this talk about the review early too. B-.
All right, next.
So what did I watch? I came across several new things.
Like what you came across was like some kind of mystery sexy porn.
Well, yeah, but actually I started the new Netflix Resident Evil CGI animated series, and I kind of lost interest on episode 2, so I may return to that. I'm not sure. But I did watch a couple of things all the way through, like Black Widow and Fear Street Part 1 and 2. Now, Fear Street is a horror trilogy about people possessed by the curse of a witch into becoming killers, and it's going straight to Netflix. And Part 3 isn't out yet, so I'll likely revisit this a little more thoroughly after I see Part 3. But so far, it's worth a watch. Just, kind of ignore the Suicide Squad style licensed music drops in several parts of the movies. They use good period correct songs for their first part of 1994 and second part of 1978, respectively, but they drop them every 10 seconds or so it gets a little exhausting. Outside of that, they're enjoyable horror films so far, and it's kind of a cohesive story all the way through, so I kind of like that. Can't wait to see Part 3, and that's taking place in 1666. Ooh, spooky. So after that, I'll tell you more about the whole thing. But as far as Black Widow goes, it's a standalone story, not a trilogy, taking place after the events of the movie Civil War. That had Captain America in it and Spider-Man. While Black Widow, she's on the run now, and she decides it's a good time to hook up with some people from her past and take on the fabled Red Room and the man behind it.
Every girl he sleeps with dies.
That's not how the story goes, Bill. Anyway, while Black Widow may not be the top tier Marvel has to offer, it's still very entertaining as far as hero flicks go. We get a glimpse into Black Widow's life leading up to her super spy status, and Scarlett Johansson is actually given several opportunities to flex her acting muscles along the way. On top of that, Florence Pugh and David Harbour are perfect additions to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm hoping you see much more of them after this movie. While it doesn't have a ton of substance or a huge impact on the overall Marvel Universe, it has some great action and it never lost my attention. So make sure you watch after the credits too. I give Black Widow a straight B. So that's it for this week, and I guess I better talk about episode 700. Well, I think Bill said it best when he said,
I feel bad for everyone involved in this.
And trust me when I say this, no one feels more bad than me.
Like, how does that dude get involved with something like this?
That's a good question.
Why is any of this happening?
I blame Nail Gun Massacre. Had that ridiculously titled film not resulted in such a scathing review, who knows where I'd be right now. Probably somewhere else better, much happier.
It's like, well, fucking leave then.
Yeah.
Just go.
Well, much like in Return of Superfly, I had to come back, and I don't know why.
I don't get it. I don't get any of it. I don't get any of it.
I suppose it could be due to the relentless reviewing of every garbage flick from every corner of the globe, from the bowels of every dumpster every scumbag director slithers out of, or the glowing personalities of yourselves, Bill and Chris, the devotion to quality in a show running over 13 years, or maybe it's just that you keep letting me be on the show every week despite it being obvious I gave up after I made that song on the 3-year episode.
No shit.
But whatever it is, Outside the Cinema has 700 episodes under its belt now, and it's where I call home, even though Bill won't let me actually live with him.
Yeah.
I generally tend to stay away from people that don't like me.
Yeah. You know, if they want to kill you, maybe don't hang out there.
But as long as there's more trash to review and you keep recording yourselves saying things that, taken out of context, ruins any chances of you either ever holding political office, I will be there, using your own words against you, making each show just a little bit worse.
Okay, that'll make it a little interesting. Maybe.
So until next week, when I cleverly remind you that this was episode 700, congrats. And as always, peace and love, guys. Oh, wait, I found the real Recoil trailer.
In a world where Steve Austin is given a boring script. Oh, hell yeah! In a world where he drives the car from season 1 of Supernatural.
Where'd you learn to fight like that?
From fighting.
Recoil coming soon. Oh, hell yeah! Oh, thanks, Scott. All right, 700 done.
Yeah.
Thank you guys that came and watched live. We didn't plan to broadcast originally, but I figured episode 700, why not, right?
Right.
So thank you very much to Scott. Thank you very much to Joe for always being part of the show. It makes it what it is, man. Makes it what it is. Less work I got to do. Big fan of that. Big fan of not having to do work. So we'll be back next week with a regular episode. Yeah, go to patreon.com/outside the cinema. If you're not a member already, join up. You can help support the show. That's really it.
Yeah.
So everybody take care of themselves, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Later.
Bye.